I believe if we each work on ourselves, we're going to come to a more peaceful place anyway.
Hi, I'm Mareya, otherwise known as the Fit Foodie. I'm a chef, holistic nutritionist, author, inventor, and mom. And I want to welcome you to my podcast. It's called Recipes for Your Best Life. And with every episode, I'm peeling back the onion on fitness, nutrition, health, wellness, and family. The truth is, you're the chef of your life. And for every important pillar, there's a great recipe worth sharing. So every week, we'll explore them together. Think of it as food for thought that you can really sink your teeth into. So join me, and let's squeeze the joy out of this life, because you only get one. Can I get a fork, yeah? You've been through a lot this year, and I feel you. It's been so tough for so many, and myself included. It seems like things are never going back to normal, and everybody's talking about this new normal life, whatever that means. I feel like the tears come a lot easier these days, and fear is setting in faster than I'd like it to. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I just got done homeschooling my teenager. And let me tell you something, I picked not being a school teacher for a profession for a reason. I mean, the patience department is not where I excel a lot of the times. But maybe you've been devastated because you had to cancel plans, or your business is suffering, or someone in your family's gotten COVID. Maybe you just want to go out and have a glass of wine with a friend and not feel like your mask and your hand sanitizer are the only accessories that you're wearing. There is no challenge that is big or small right now. It's just all challenges. But this is what I've found. When you can't control what's happening, you can challenge yourself to control the way you respond. And that is where your power is. So this week, I'm talking to Pam Christian. She's a mindset coach, a motivational speaker, and the host of the Juice podcast. She's obsessed with helping us live our best lives. That sounds like a good thing to me, because so am I. But she's really an expert in practice of intuition and experience. And she uses methodologies to help people personally pivot and shift their thinking. That can bring discipline and self-reflection and self-respect to people who just don't know where to turn anymore. And the words she lives by are: the right mindset at the right time changes everything. I can't think of a better time to change our mindset for good. I think this episode is going to be one for the records. All right, let's listen in to Pam Christian. Pam, it's so nice to have you on and to meet you.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
I think mindset and really what you are out there sharing wisdom about is more important now than ever. How did you enter into this field?
So it's pretty interesting. I've been an entrepreneur most of my adult life, and I ran a very successful real estate team. And there was a point in my career where I was on top and, doing really well financially and all those great things that you want, but I just wasn't fulfilled inside of myself. And I knew there was something more for me. And I had been through a lot of trauma in my life, starting at a young age. Actually, I'll be having a book come out about that, so I won't give too much away right now. But so I've always sort of known deep inside me there was this purpose, but I hadn't been able to tap into it. And I just kind of had this wake-up call like, hey, you don't have to be on the bottom to switch careers. It's okay to be on the top and still leave. And I had been working on my own mindset my whole life, because when you go through traumatic experiences, it's very easy to be knocked down and stay there. And I hated that feeling of being there. So my whole life has been an effort to elevate myself and build my mindset and strengthen myself and evolve. And people started asking me how I was doing it for myself and how I always seemed so calm and like an anchor and happy and positive. And I started sharing it and getting really good feedback. And I just made the decision that this was what I needed to do, because this is what people need before everything that we're going through right now, and even more so right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think when you look at what has happened during this current time of COVID and protesting over racial inequality and Black Lives Matter really becoming now at the forefront of our discussions, a lot of people that I've been talking about are quite frankly just overwhelmed. They don't have the words, they don't know how to express themselves, and they don't know where to seek the answers. How do you guide people in filtering through, how to stay motivated in a time that feels so unsure?
I think the best way to stay motivated is always going inward. We're so focused on external validation. So if we have an opinion or say something about what's going on and it doesn't resonate with someone else or they judge it, it knocks us down. And then the whole wind gets taken out of us, our sails, and we can't move forward. And I think when you start to work on getting to know yourself and being more self-aware of who you are, what resonates, what's in alignment, what works for you and what doesn't, and you stay true to that, you're able to show up better for yourself and everyone else. And when you're able to show up better for yourself, you're able to be more motivated. It's scary putting yourself out there. And I don't mean putting yourself out there like you and I are. I mean, even at the most simplest level, when you have something to say, but you're not sure how to express it. Sometimes you have to try it on for size. You have to just do it and be okay with the response or reaction not being what you want, and give your own self the pat on the back for just trying, because it takes time to figure out who we are, because we've been conditioned to not be in touch with who we are, but be in touch with what society says we're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And how can society be telling everyone we're all supposed to be the same thing, doing the same thing, having the same level of success, and that's the only way to measure success? But the more in touch you get with yourself, and there are lots of ways to do that, the more comfortable you'll be being your own true self outside.
Yeah, I want to expand on the putting ourselves out there, because I think that now more than ever, it feels very intimidating. But what are some of the tools that you have in your toolkit that you can implement to gain this inner confidence, this voice? Because I think you're right. I think it's very hard when it doesn't come to you innately, and maybe you've had some sort of trauma or something along your life that's gotten in the way of you being able to develop that. What are some of the tools that you would recommend?
Well, I mean, the first tool is to be patient with yourself, because everyone wants everything to change in a day, and it's just not going to happen. And you have to understand that this is a process, and it doesn't mean that you start today and I'm going to tell you, okay, if you do this for 5 years, in 5 years, you're going to hit the pinnacle. It's sort of like you're on a journey, and each day, week, month, you'll notice things. And I actually just posted a video today on my Instagram. Sometimes you will fall back to move forward, and that's normal, and that's okay. But so patience is my number one recommendation, but tools would be, it's all about self-awareness, witnessing, observing. And when I say witnessing and observing, I mean your own self. So imagine yourself in a play and you're a character in a play. Instead of being that character, be in the audience, observing. Observe your thoughts, notice them, question them. Why am I telling myself I could never do that? I could never be that person. I could never have that body. I could never have that career. That's what we tell ourselves. I think Joe Dispenza, who's like this amazing doctor.
Yeah,
if you don't follow him, check him out. Yeah. So he says there are like 80,000 thoughts going through our brain in a given day. I think it's 80,000, and whatever, 70 or 80% of them are negative. That means you're only feeding yourself 20% positive, and it's probably not even positive. It's probably neutral. So when you start to notice your thoughts, then you can change them, but you can't change them without the self-awareness. So living more consciously. It doesn't mean changing anything you're doing at the beginning. It's just noticing.
Do you recommend that? Can I jump in here and ask, when you notice things, do you recommend that people use something like a journal, or, even almost like a vlog where they're videotaping themselves? I've found in the past that really helps me to just write it down. I'll wake up on fire some mornings, just like, okay, I got to write this down because this is really pivotal. Like, what can we do to just remind ourselves of those things?
So, I mean, I personally also love journaling, and I go through stages where I'm journaling a lot and then I'm not journaling. But what I want to do is bring this to bite-sized pieces for the viewers, the people listening, because not everyone's at a point where they can journal yet. Mm-hmm. And it takes consistency. So maybe they start the first day and then they don't journal the next day. So they throw in the towel, kind of like with a diet, and then you binge. And it's a step-by-step process. So if you're not a journaler, that's okay. Take the thing that works for you. It can be positive affirmations. When my kids were growing up, I'm a single mom. I really wanted a certain type of life for them. I used to write on their mirror in dry erase marker things like, I am beautiful. I am confident. I am awesome at school. I have a lot of friends, whatever it would be. And they'd wake up in the morning and brush their teeth. And it would say these I things, these I am affirmations. And for you, if you don't want to do it on your bathroom mirror, you could put it on sticky notes and write it around. And yes, that's not journaling and it's not what you're coming to, but it's also starting to feed yourself a different kind of self-talk. It's getting rid of your saboteur and accessing your leader within. I do love journaling. I just know, there are lots of people that don't do it.
Yeah. And journaling, let me just kind of backtrack for a second. Then I want to make a comment about the notes because I do that and I love that. A journal sounds daunting, but it can be just as simple as like, I'll write in my phone. I have my little notes on my iPhone and I will just write thoughts, like even if it's just a sentence. And
I'm with you,
and then I'll go back. So, I want people listening to feel like journaling doesn't have to be writing extensive pages in a book. It can be jotting down a note or even collecting little memes or motivational quotes from the internet that you like to follow. I know that you post them on your Instagram. Yeah. I've seen that. We post them too. But about the notes, I do that. I write on the mirror, and by the way, you can wipe it off. So for
exactly, that's why it's a dry erase. No Sharpies.
Don't worry about writing with a Sharpie. But I wrote a note. I'm newly remarried. I was a single mom and raised my kids on my own for 13 and a half years, and I just got remarried a few months ago. And I wrote a note to my husband, and I put it on a note, and I taped it to the mirror. And I thought he would take it down. He's left it up there now. It's been up there now for a couple of weeks, and I just think it's really cute. Like, and I see it, and I'm like, yeah, those are all the things he is. So it's a wonderful thing to be able to extend that to other people, but also write it for yourself,
Well, and you said something I just wanted to piggyback on. When you do something, like if you're not doing the sticky pad and you're not doing the journal, but you're using the suggestion of writing notes in the phone, which I love and I think is more practical for a lot of people, when you put what your thoughts are down on paper, it's sort of like a meditation in the sense that you're releasing. It's getting it out. And so much of what we have is clogged thoughts in our brain. So getting it down anywhere, but also going back and looking at your notes in 2 weeks and seeing where you were 2 weeks will really show you the progress. When you're feeling like you're not making progress, you can kind of track it that way. So I love that.
Yeah, I know. And it's one of those things that's, I like collecting quotes. I like to flip through, I'll flip through my phone sometimes and I have a folder for inspirational quotes because we all need it. We all have had some pretty trying times. And I think that we can be the most positive people, but, the truth is there's a lot of uncertainty. Are there any other tools you would suggest?
I mean, there are so many. You cut me off when you want me to stop, but I think, first of all, what you put in your body is very important. So what we're eating, how we're fueling ourselves, how we're hydrating ourselves. Are we moving our body? And I'm not saying you have to go for a 10-mile run. You don't have to be an overachiever, but take a walk around your block. That'll make your energy flow. That'll shake things up. Gratitude. There are so many different ways to achieve what you want to achieve. And what you have to do is find what resonates with you. So mine might be different than yours, but it's always about a system. And there are people out there that are like me saying their own version of the same thing. If what they say resonates more than what I say, go with what they say. Mm-hmm. It's just starting something and getting started and moving forward.
Yes. And I think sometimes taking that initial step is maybe the most crippling. I've had, and I don't know about you, Pam, but I am a pretty positive and self-motivated person. And I feel that the last few months have been like so surreal in